In this problem, I'm going to compute the direction angles of this vector u. So recall that the formula for the direction angles is given by the following. So the cosine of alpha, this is the first direction cosine, is equal to u1 over the magnitude of u. So you use this to find alpha, which is your first direction angle. And then the cosine of beta is equal to u2 over the magnitude of u. By the way, this is your u1 right here, and this is your u2, and this is your u3. And then the cosine of gamma is equal to u3 over the magnitude of u. My apologies for being abusive here with the u. We should have arrows here, so sometimes I forget. It's not a big deal. As long as it's understood that they're vectors from the context, I personally think it's okay. Okay, so we need to find the magnitude of our vector u. So let's go ahead and decide here and do that. So the magnitude of u is the square root of the sum of the squared components. So you square each component. So 5 squared plus 9 squared plus 7 squared. So 5 squared is 25. So we have 25. 9 squared is 81. So 81. And 7 squared is 49. So if you add all these up, and I do have a calculator here handy with me, so I'm going to enter everything just to save some time. I end up with the square root of 155. So that would be the length or magnitude or norm of the vector. All mean the same thing. So this is equal to, so this would be 5 over the square root of 155. This would be your first direction cosine. The question just wants the angles though, so we'll have to retrieve alpha from this in a minute. And then this will be 9 over the square root of 155. And last but not least, we have 7 over the square root of 155. Now the problems you do usually specify whether you need to be in radians or degrees. This question, I believe, wanted us to specify things in degrees. So we're finding direction angles in degrees. So alpha here will be equal to the inverse cosine of 5 over the square root of 155. So this is something that you do need a calculator for. So if I type this in really quickly here, let's see what I get. I got 66.3. So alpha is our first direction cosine, and that would be 66.3. What does this mean intuitively? This is the angle between our vector u and the unit vector I hat. Beta is the angle between our vector u and the unit vector k hat. So this is the inverse cosine of 9 over the square root of 155. And if we work this out, let's see what we get. Inverse cosine of 9 divided by square root of 155. End up with 43.7 degrees. So putting that again in your calculator in degrees, you'll get 43.7. One of the most common mistakes in these problems is people are in the wrong mode. So if you're working this out for a class or something, just make sure you're in the right mode. And then cosine inverse of 7 over the square root of 155. So let's just type this in. So cosine inverse of 7 over the square root of 155. I end up with 55.8 degrees. So 55.8 degrees. And this would be the angle between u and our vector k hat. So alpha is the angle between u and I hat. Beta is the angle between u and j hat. And then gamma is the angle between u and k hat. I hope this video has been helpful.